Hi, guys. We are back. Episode 21. Thank you guys for tuning in last week. We had Kel on. Hopefully, you guys learned a little bit about her, and you go and subscribe and follow her for all your nutrition tips and food and things. I guess she doesn't really do nutrition tips. She just cooks.
Yeah.
Really, it's just more like meal planning and things like
Did you
that.
eat that bar?
I did.
I liked it.
It was good.
It was really good.
It was good.
Kale for
So yeah, they're like squirrel bars, I think is what they're called. So if you guys, again, go look her up, Pump and Crunch on Instagram,
Right.
check it out. Also, when this episode airs, because we are recording it, I'm either going to be really excited the day of, or I'm going to be really sad because the 49ers could possibly be in the Super Bowl when this one comes out, or they would have lost to the Eagles. Whatever.
True.
But anyways, sports has been fun. Football's been fun, mainly because I'm a 49er fan. And Cowboys lost.
They whooped the hell out the Cowboys.
That was rough for
I
them.
mean, it was a close game, yes, but
Yeah, it was sad. Sad
49ers
day.
look beast.
And, man,
Look pretty good. Damn good.
you know, my brother-in-law's a Cowboy fan. And the week before, I went over to his house, and they were watching the Cowboys, and they were playing Tom Brady. And he was talking so much crap after they won. Like, oh, your defense ain't blah, blah, blah. I'm like, the 49ers are number one. Defense, what are you talking about? It's like, Brock hasn't seen our defense. Oh, man, his neighbors were over there. And, like, I was like, they were just talking smack. And to this day, I haven't told him anything. I haven't rubbed it in his face or whatever, anything like that. We try to keep it humble as a 49er fan, at least for me. Cowboys fans are probably, if you're a Cowboy fan, you listen to this. I'm just being honest. I think that you guys, some of you, okay, most of you, not all of you. Some of you guys just get unrealistic about things, but whatever. I digress from sports. I'm just really excited that it's playoff football. Yeah, week's been pretty good. A little busy. Sweat is no longer really in my life in a sense as coaching goes.
Yeah.
But
How's that feel? Are you getting like work-life balance? Or did you feel like
it's kind of a relief because I think like it's more of I get to focus more on things that like I need to focus on, like to grow.
right?
In a sense, like I don't think, for me personally, again, I have nothing against Sweat, nothing against anyone there or anything like that. I think it's a great workout, great company. It just wasn't like for me to be there, and I think just like as I'm getting older, I'm like, okay, I need to really focus on where I see myself growing and going into like the next chapter of my life. So, but it's been good. Getting a lot. It's a little weird though. Sometimes I'm like, yeah, I was supposed to coach at this time. Yeah, and I'm like, well, oh yeah, I need to work on X, Y, Z. You know, instead of like, what do I do?
So you figured out what to do with your time.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
Yeah, well, remember one of the things we talked about too was organization in 2023. So,
And being consistent.
boom.
Trying to be consistent in every aspect of life. I don't think it's just like work, but I think relationships, friendships, I don't know, workouts and eating habits. I think that's really important to stay with. And I think it's hard for a lot of people to stay consistent, but you just it's baby steps, I think, a lot of the times, to get to that point. But yeah, that's been pretty consistent. I think one thing, again, like little things, it's this podcast. I think we've been both consistent, and it feels good to kind of just be consistent every week to putting something out this year. So it's little baby steps, and hopefully like that just goes into other things in our life. It just bleeds into other things.
Trickles. Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, no, it's been good. I mean, it's funny. Kind of just going off the side because we just got finished because we are recording, but Matt was in here doing some content and with his friend, with his I don't know what we call him, but his associate. You know what? We're gonna just X that because people might know who that is. Anyways, we're just gonna X that. Anyways, this guy just had a bunch of stories, and it was just funny. He's younger, blah, blah, blah. But yeah, I'm not gonna go there right now. That can be an off topic thing, because I'm sure if you know Matt, then you'd probably know who the guy is.
Well, it's no big deal, and I'm sure our listeners, some of them know, but not all of them know. But either way, let's just double back. We were talking with a younger gentleman, client of mine, somebody I know, do business with him, and we were just in discussion about like his situation. He went through a pretty bad breakup. Not going to talk about his whole like breakup scenario, but pretty bad breakup. Somebody he was with for years, right? And not to say I know 100% of what happened. Like there's always two sides of the story, but like from my perspective, seeing what happened to him was pretty brutal. And he, of course, he confided in me, but then also like he reached out to me because he was like, man, one of the things that I know I need to do is get in the gym. He's more so like, bro, I need to get swole. I'm like, no, bro. You just need to get in the gym to take your head and your mind off of that stuff. Like, do something productive. Like, in turn, you're going to get swole.
He's been watching too much Instagram Reels.
That's what it is. That's exactly what it is. He like, I'm about to put a reel out with me just being skinny in one and then just being jacked in the next.
Transformation.
Right, which I'm like, he's put on about maybe 15, 20 pounds too in the past, since I've been training him, and maybe the past 4 months, 3 months or something like that. Like we went on a bulk, not even 15, 20, maybe more than that. He put on about 25, and then boom, he just cut back down. He's still up 15 pounds, but he's like more so lean. He's ready to go back on the bulk. But anyways, went through a nasty breakup and stuff like that, and we was really kind of giving him advice because, I mean, I told him this. This is the first thing I told him when he went through the breakup. And this is kind of going to lead into like our whole discussion, right? But I told him, I said, what you need to do right now is focus primarily on yourself, like building everything that you currently have. Like you got a lot going for yourself. Like you have your own business. You make money while, not even having to do business. You have a full-time job. Like just build that. And it let more wealth accumulate, but then also like build relationships with people, blase, which I think he's excellent at doing. He's like 24 years old. So a lot younger than me. And then at my age, when I was think about what you were doing at 24, like, like it ain't too many people that I know at 24 that own their own business. That's just, he's ahead of his time to an extent, right? I know some people who are very like more successful than him, of course, at that age, but like he's ahead of his time, definitely. He does a great job of handling business and stuff like that, and his work is like incredible, right? But told him focus on that first. Then I said when it comes to dating, because of course I'm not going to expect him not to want to date, right? I said,
yeah, he's a young 24-year-old male.
Right.
Of course he's going to want to
heterosexual
date.
male,
He's
right?
going to want to date or have friends.
Right.
Close friends.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, whatever.
Either one. He's 24 years old, and he's probably going to want, like, that's going to be, I'm not saying not all guys are like that.
Right.
But I feel like the majority of a 24-year-old guy that's young and is probably going to want to have a relationship, regardless which kind of relationship it is.
Yeah, to date, right? Well, in general, yeah. Maybe he went through a long relationship, so I'm like, you don't need to do that again. Right now, spend the rest, not rest, but like spend maybe the next 3-4 years. Maybe not even give it a time. Just spend time on dating people, learning people, and then learning how to date people, learning how to like be in a relationship again and stuff like that. Because I think there was a couple of miscues within his relationship where he learned, okay, next time I need to do better. And that's one of the things with me too as well. Like one of the things that I learned in some of my past relationships when I was 22, 23, 24, 25 was that like, how to treat your significant other, whoever you're talking to, especially if you want to keep them. You know what I mean? And not to say like you have to go, it's not to say that, because if you're going to keep them, I guess is a bad way to phrase it more so. But like if you want to make your relationship work, Is that if that makes more sense, right? If you really in a relationship with somebody, you want to make it work. You think this is the person you're gonna marry, And I'm not the expert on this, right? I know there's people who've been married a long time, way longer than I even been in a relationship with my fiance. But I'm just saying from what I've learned and what I've experienced, I think my experiences have accumulated to my idea of how I would be able to make my relationship work and how to respect and like how to love and then how to show somebody that you actually care for them and stuff like that. So I told them to spend more time dating people because that's one of the ways that you're going to learn people and learn how people work too with like their like women, other women or in general picking and being real picky and sorting out different women who aren't for you and figuring out the ones who are for you or in general the ones that you could see yourself spending a future with, So that's just kind of some of the stuff I was kind of giving him advice on and all that stuff. But he's kind of, so away from that, he's kind of like, now he's in a mode of where he's dating a lot too, right? So,
Yeah.
and this is kind of where me and John started to give him game, like, because he started saying some things like, started referring to, whoever he's currently dating and, but at the other day, maybe he saw somebody at the gym that was cute and all that, which is normal stuff at 24, right?
Yeah, I mean, it's normal stuff like that when people get older too. I don't think it's just like 24. But what we were talking to him about is, I think going through something like that at a young age, when you're going through that, I feel like everyone's going to get their heart broken at some point in their life.
Truth.
I think it's just natural and it goes with it. And I think you have to go through things like that. And what happens is that I think when you go through things like that, it changes you, right? Like, one, you can be like, okay, get it. I need to, one, focus on myself and do my thing. Or two, it's like you start to, like, it just changes your perspective on dating and things like that. But pretty much we were just kind of just telling them in a way of, you're young. I think again, so a lot of this goes back to before, like, I start talking about this. It's not the fact that I've done this my whole life, because I haven't, right? And so from my time dating and my experiences, you grow a lot. You learn a lot. You talk to people, and you get to know their story and their experiences as well. But what I was telling him is more or less like, I think just kind of being upfront with the women, with the women that you're dating. And I think right now it's a pivotal time in his life where he has to, and it's hard because I think sometimes you go back and, like, you come back and think about it, and I think guys would look back and be like, man, I was just chasing women. I wasn't trying to pursue my business or my life. Like, where was my career going? But at his age, sometimes a lot of the guys are like out of college and they have like a job that is like set up for them. But not everyone, right? Everyone has a different path, different story. But I think if you're not there, if you're not content on where you want to be in your life at that point, I think as far as like work, I think you should focus on what it is that you want to do, because in the long run, the more effort you put into that, the more you look back and you're like, man, I'm glad I did this, because I feel like that person will come in your life regardless at some point. Right. So trying to pursue that, it's really, I mean, you're going to keep pursuing. How long are you going to keep pursuing? And he kind of just like, he kind of also had the mentality of like, there might be something that might be better, right? And I'm like, yo, there's always going to be someone better. Like someone that's going to be more, in a sense of like, good looking, or someone's going to be, whatever that might be. But at the end of the day, like, it's more than that. I think you just have to look back and just kind of be like, well, this person has these qualities, and this is what I love. And again, in dating, like, you start to have like non-negotiables. Like, what's a non-negotiable in my life? in a relationship that I want with someone. It's like, do you believe in God? No. Okay, cool. You're out. Sorry. You know, we had this discussion with Russ too about it on the podcast, and he was just like, well, what if that's just one? And I think everyone has their thing. Like, if you can't, and you say that, but sometimes, like, when you get into a relationship and you might put it to the side, like, oh, well, you know what? It's okay. But once you start either living together or doing a lot of things more together, you start to see a little bit of that stuff come out, and you're like, oh, yeah, no, this is a problem. I thought I was going to be okay with it, but I'm not. And I think what I was just telling him is just, like, focus on yourself, and those people will come. It's cool to go on dates. It's cool to, like, you know, you can just be upfront and be like, hey, just kind of, if you want to go on a date, great. We'll see where this leads to. But I just want to let you know, like, I'm not trying to look for, like, a steady relationship. I love to spend time with you. I'm not saying that things could change. My mind can change. But as of right now, like, this is what I'm looking for. And I think women will respect you more when you're upfront with them with that, because they can't come back and be like, well, you didn't tell me this.
Yeah.
And the problem is that a lot of guys, I don't even know what you call it. Do you call it gaslighting? I don't even know what gaslighting is, but, or I kind of do. But anyways, but it's kind of like, yeah, I want to do all these things with you, and I want this, and I want that, and relationship. But really, they're just like, I'm just telling you what you want to hear. I really don't want to. I don't see myself with you, but you're here now.
Right.
You know.
Part of that is, and what I was gonna kind of go into too, is like a lot of guys at a younger age tend to like think in the now. Like, what am I doing now? I want to feel good now. I want to, you know, feel good tonight. I need something for tonight, rather than thinking like you said, thinking for the future. When you start thinking for the future, you're thinking, especially like, okay, within work. Like, how are you thinking? Okay, what do I want to be within work? Am I just making a check, or within the next 3 years, am I trying to own this company, have my own company, move up to a certain position? So same thing you want to think within the dating scene. And it's okay to date and still think for the future. You don't want to, like, honestly, you don't even want to force yourself whenever you meet somebody and you're dating. I mean, it's kind of off-putting to start talking about marriage and all that stuff really, really early. Right. So although you're thinking about the future, like, okay, is this somebody that I can see myself hanging out with rather than us just hooking up? Or is this somebody that I can see myself taking? Like, another part is bringing her around family, friends,
right.
Like going out places and being seen with this person. Is this somebody that can, you know, that I can spend life with? Or is this just somebody who's just for the tonight, or maybe just for the week? You know what I'm saying? Right. So
yeah,
thinking in the future.
Yeah, it's so complicated, man. And it's hard, you know, you like going through a lot of stuff, like in relationships and dating people, and just being that person too. Like, and admit it. Like, yeah, I was that person that would be like, yeah, cool, yeah, let's hang out. Yeah, of course, absolutely.
I mean, I think we all.
But it's like, you know, and it sucks. Like, you look back now and you're like, yeah, I don't think that person deserved that, like, at all.
Absolutely.
You know, and you're just like, you think about it and you're just like, damn, I was kind of an asshole at some point.
Right. No,
you
for
know?
sure.
And it's not to say, like, I can't go back and change it. Like, it happened. But at the same time, you also get the other side of it, where, like, what he got, right? Like, he was in the opposite side of the situation. Right. And that sucks too, like, being on both ends of it. And but I think just being up front, I think one thing that I learned is just being up front, because like you said earlier before the pod, it's like you kind of just like weave the ones that want a relationship and want this full thing, like, and the ones that are just like, okay, cool, looking for maybe a friendship or whatever that might be that, you know, that you both are looking for, but at least you have an understanding, and just being straight up and honest and being like, look, this is what I want. Right. This is what I'm looking for at this moment in my life. Yep. Not to say, like, because you never know, like, you become friends with this person for a long time or for a while, and sometimes you want to date like that best friend, right? Because I think you guys would get each other, you would know every ins and outs and things like that. Right. But no, I just think it's definitely common. I mean, now being 24 with all like the social media stuff, like being that, like, we didn't have. Okay, now let's. What is this? 18 years ago?
We did. I mean,
15,
I did.
10.
You didn't have it.
I didn't have it. I'm trying to think. Whenever I was his age, it was 24. So
About 10 years ago, bro.
Instagram had
12,
just
14
no.
years. Yeah, no,
No,
it wasn't
Instagram wasn't. Instagram wasn't.
It's probably Twitter.
Facebook had just kind of kicked off because Facebook kicked off like in 2001, 2002, and I just graduated high school. So, no, I would say like it might have like Twitter was around, Facebook was around. There's no Instagram, and it was a little bit, like you didn't have all that stuff. Like the phones back then weren't. I don't even think iPhone was around. It might have not been around when I was 24 years old because that's 14 years ago.
Yeah. That was 14 years. John's old.
Wow.
Yeah, life back then was a little different.
What's way different?
I didn't take any relationship serious back then, 14 years ago. That means I was 16 years old. John.
16.
Oh, man. John's 7 years older than me. I keep forgetting.
I know.
But
yeah, it's crazy. I mean, it's harder now. And I just think, like, I just hope, that he kind of just, like, focuses on his craft and what he does. And,
Absolutely.
and then those women will come into his life.
They'll find ready. When they're both
and it's
ready,
just like don't force it because what happens is like you waste a lot of energy sometimes in that, and especially I'm not saying like if you're 24 and you've been in a relationship for like 4 years, like to start shifting things. That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying like if he's right now in his singleness, like trying to find someone. I think if you're already there and you're doing really well, like you're trying to better yourself, like put that energy, most of your energy into that.
Right.
And of course, you're gonna want to hang out with somebody or like go to like the movies and stuff, and that's cool. But just have that understanding of like, hey, this is where we're at and this is what we're doing. Because what you don't want us to be misleading towards a woman and just be like,
well, I think so. Me knowing his situation and not trying to go into details too much, but having somebody that he's currently talking to, kind of iffy about, hey, I don't know if I should do it or not. And I'm like, I think you heard me say, I'm like, man, this is kind of like this was perfect, like exactly what you wanted. But at the same time, he's in the middle of his singleness. I like how you said that, like your singleness. And singleness shouldn't mean that you're just dating anybody to date them or you're out hoeing around. That's not singleness. Singleness means you're courting women, right? Like you're going here and there, you're dating whoever you want because you're single, right? But still being, you should still, within your singleness, you should still be respective or just show respect towards women to be able to communicate with them the truth. Like, hey, look, I'm single. I'm not really looking for much. If it happens, it happens. I'm not looking to force a relationship, but also at the same time, I'm thinking about the future. So if a relationship that I really value comes across, then, I'm definitely interested in what am I thinking? I'm interested in looking more into that.
Yeah,
or it could be the opposite. It could be like, look, man, I'm single. I have no interest in that dating right now. I'm just kind of looking for, fun right now, which is fine. Kind of wasting your own time. But there's nothing wrong with that. Like everybody has that time wasted moment. Women, men, mostly everybody, right? Majority of people, they have that time where it's just like, I don't want to worry about somebody calling me in the middle of the night, asking me where I'm at. I just want to be able to go out, wake up in the morning, and not have any ties or have any worries, and that's okay. Like, I honestly told him whenever he first was single, I said, you need to be selfish with your time right now. Like,
yeah, you should.
Selfish is in like spend more time on you and figuring out what you want within your relationship with women, everything.
He should. Like, you'll change. He'll change. People change from 24 to 34. You're going to be a different person.
Absolutely.
I can tell you that right now. I mean, like, it's like, and that's crazy. It's like people that get married, like, at a young age, like, they go with their spouse, given, like, if they're together for long, like, even into their 30s, like, that's a lot of years together with that person. And then going through that stages of you both individually growing, right, and having maybe, like, just different things. I don't know. It's different. 14. Like, I can imagine. So, like, if I married at 24, I would be 14 years into my marriage.
Man,
14 years.
You would have a 14-year marriage. You probably have like 2-3 kids, John.
Probably.
I have clients. I know people your age with 3-4 kids. I'm sure you do too.
Yeah.
So
no, absolutely. I'm like one of the oldest, if not the oldest. I want to say, the oldest. Like, out of my cousins, and I have a lot of them, like 25 of them or something. First cousins. I'm Mexican, by the way. If you guys didn't know, I'm Mexican. Um, 25, like first cousins, and I'm the last one. I mean, the ones that are like old enough to
Yeah.
get married. Like I'm the last one. I'm the oldest one that's not married. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So, but yeah.
But
Anyways,
it's okay too, because different seasons.
yeah,
I think we
no.
kind of talked
Every-
about this in the episode
yeah,
beforehand.
everything's it's
Like episode 3 or 4 was like
it's
everybody's season, and you were in your season.
different.
You were in the season where you were. Yeah, I forgot what season you were in. Honestly, I can't
You
even
were
tell
in
you
the
what season you was in.
You were in the season of
You were in whatever season you were in at the time.
Yeah.
Now you're in a different
Yeah,
season.
you learn
right?
a lot, man. I tell you learn a lot. And yeah, it's just different. As you get older, you start to realize a lot of things. You
So
just changing things.
you keep talking about your age and stuff. Let's double back. I got a question. All right. So, if you had any words of advice, kind of goes within the same thing that we were talking with him. But any words with advice. Let's boil it down even further. If it was 2 words of advice, 2 words, specific words of advice that you could give your former self 10 years ago, what would they be?
10 years ago, focus on yourself. Stop chasing women. Bro, I'm just saying. No, I think so. And it goes back to, and I'm just going to be honest with you. Hold on. Let me, 2 words. Shoot. Dang. For me, I think that's the thing. Okay, so let me break it down, because I know like 2 words that I could say if I was in his situation. Now for myself, because 10 years ago I still had a daughter who was
Right.
8. So for me it's a little bit different, right? So like for me and myself back then would be more of like I would say daughter time for me, right? Emphasizing more of time with her and doing a lot different stuff. And that's a whole nother freaking, that's a whole nother, what's it called? Episode about that stuff. But yeah,
Right.
for me, it would be daughter time for me. Just having more time with my daughter. That would be for me. But if I was to say let's just say for this young gentleman or someone that's in like their no kids, nothing like that, I would say, it's not 2 words, but just like, I don't know, focus on yourself. Just focus, yeah, on yourself, selflessness,
Okay.
selflessness, and yeah,
Selfishness.
both. I think I feel like both.
Because selfless would be like focus on others.
Oh
rather than
no,
yourself.
selfishness. I think at some point, like like for him, I mean, he'd be 28 or whatever, but like he just needs to focus on his stuff. Him being himself and growing for himself,
Right.
because you can't start to worry about a lot of things for other people, because if they're not going the same way you're going, or they're trying to like stop you in your path, then you don't want that. And I think there's a lot of people go through that, you know. They let somebody kind of give them that roadblock and they stop pursuing what they wanted to.
So more so just, I guess you could kind of say like grow.
Grow.
Like grow would make sense, because grow means that you would give your time to like, you give yourself time to grow, and you would give yourself time to like mature.
Yeah.
Or maturity.
2
So,
words you would say?
Yeah. So, and then I would also say, so grow. I'm with you on that. And I'm thinking the second one would be more so, future, right? And it kind of goes with grow, but it's more so like when I say future, I mean like more so think about, what's to come in the future rather than thinking the now,
Right.
right? We kind of just went over this a second ago, but when you start thinking about the future, you value your time when you're dating other people, and
When you're young, you don't think about that. Dude.
exactly, bro.
That's the hard part. I think
That's
when
the hard
when
part.
you can get a kid to understand, or a younger person to understand that you doing all these things now, like you're gonna look back. If it's hindering your growth, I think you should stop doing that. And for me, I think a lot of that was was that, like just trying to just focusing on things that wasn't helping me grow, and I guess. But yeah, I don't know, this episode went into relationships just because we had this chat with with the kid, this guy. Let's call him a kid. He's a young adult.
Yeah.
He is a young adult.
He's a smart guy. Got a lot going for him. And
He'll be all right.
He will.
He will be all right.
And I also told him, I told him this. I said, you're going to be all right, bro. You just have to have patience and then also enjoy your free time, because honestly, you'll probably reach a time to where you'll find the one that's for you, right? And then
In time, yeah.
all this
Find it.
time that you had to spend on yourself, you won't be able to do it anymore, which is okay, right? Because
Yeah.
you're going to be focused on somebody else, but and which is what everybody wants.
It might
But-
take you till you're 30. It might take you till you're 38.
Right, exactly. But this is the thing, those life lessons that you learned
Yeah.
helped you in the relationship that you're at now. If you would have been
Right.
in, like I think we had this discussion before, like if it was your former self, my former self, like whenever I first got with my fiance, I would have messed it up. If
Yeah,
that makes sense.
Yeah.
Right?
And I think you can go back and kind of just think, like, we talked about that. When I said, like, I don't think it's who, but when. I think it's like when you know that you're ready to settle down and do that person at that time is, I feel like, the person that you would do that for. Because you start to, like someone said, everyone's going to have a little bit of crazy in them, but it's what kind of crazy are you willing to put up with?
Absolutely.
Because everyone's going to have some crazy, but which crazy are you willing to put up with, you know?
I done met some crazy.
Yeah, there's some crazy.
Capital C,
You're like
crazy.
some crazy. You're like, nope, can't
Nope.
deal with that one.
That crazy, a little
Absolutely
too
not.
much crazy.
Just too much, and the crazy that I don't want. But yeah,
Right. I think when you actually get to the point where you stop chasing, the next prettiest thing, because there's always going to be something, that's just a little bit more, right? Whether she's a little bit more prettier, a little bit more outgoing, or, something that you like, that you admire about them. They might work out a little bit more and you really like that, or whatever it is, or you can always find something wrong with somebody, and then you can always find something about what's better with the next girl, right?
Right.
And once you finally get to that point where you're like, nah, I'm not even looking for that, right?
Yeah, you know, and it's in time, you'll figure it out, hopefully.
Yeah. So
Hopefully. But yeah, that's good little episode there.
that was kind of a little riff episode. We was kind of just
Yeah.
going back and forth, but
It wasn't really what we were expecting this episode, but hey, when you encounter someone and we kind of just want to share our thoughts on that.
yeah,
You know?
absolutely. Or if anything, give advice to
Or try to get
other young men.
We're definitely not therapists, so don't
This
don't go
ain't
around saying like they told
professional
us on
advice at all.
they told us on this podcast that
Right.
I should just be selfish, so I'm gonna break up with you.
Right. No, 100%. Well, and you know
We're
what?
definitely not saying
the,
that.
The advice goes both ways too, as well, because we kind of just kept more so talking about him, but like even as a woman, right? You go through the same thing. You go through a bad relationship, or somebody wastes your time, whatever the situation
No,
is.
yeah, it goes back and forth.
Right.
Yeah, and it's kind of like the same thing for yeah, it's for both. I mean, it's not just it's just the fact that we had a conversation with this young guy,
Right.
this male, and so like that's the only reason why that. No, but it definitely flips. You can flip
you can
the
flip
coin.
the script, although women have different experiences, right? Like, maybe women aren't out chasing tail. Now, I know some chasing tail women. Well, I've
Chasing
known.
tail
Not-
women?
Not I know, but I've known some chasing tail women, right? But I'm saying more so, I see it on the other standpoint of, okay, when a woman goes, she's more single, she goes through a bad breakup or something.
When a
First thing she
woman's
wants to do is go hang out with friends, like be around friends, or just be out, right? Some of them, not all of them, but
Yeah.
some of them, which may, first off, again, may not be the right approach, because you start going out, then you start meeting the out guys, right? And those are the guys that you definitely don't want to be trying to date. You know what I mean? You can find a one-off and find somebody that that would be an interesting person to date. But at the same time, if they were out looking for women that same night that you met them, they're probably likely going to be out looking for more women the next night.
Well, yeah. It's funny you say that when girls are like, "Oh, I mean, like this guy didn't call me back. He doesn't text me. Blah blah blah." After this, I'm like, well, "Where'd you meet him?" "Oh, at the club or at this."
Right.
And I'm like, "All right, well then that's your problem." I mean, I don't know. I mean, yeah. I mean, not to say that. I don't know. There's a lot to dissect in that because I feel like not to say all guys that go out to clubs just are doing that, but it's like the ones that go there every weekend.
Absolutely.
Those are the ones that you're like, it's like, how often do you come here? I'm here, like 3-4 times a month. Cool, I'm out.
Right. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. That's like when you get approached by a guy or something like that at the club, ladies.
Or you get approached by them at the gym.
I would just say or gym. And hold on, that's a whole nother conversation, right? But you get approached by a guy out at the bars, they're trying to buy you a drink, whatever. Like there's some vetting to be done. You need to like talk to them thoroughly first off before you give out their number. Like even if they look cute, whatever the situation is, like vet them, see if they have the qualities that you would that you actually value, right? And then also see if they have something going for themselves, like they're just not fucking bumming out every night, etc. Like
and we get it's great like that you bring that up because I think that's a great topic, a conversation, like people that get approached at the gym or women that get approached at the gym. But we definitely want to save that. I don't want to talk about any of that now in this episode. I think we can bring a female on that's in the gym all the time that maybe gets hit on and like experiences that stuff and their dating experience on the other side, maybe being in fitness and stuff. So that'd be a good topic. But I mean, we can wrap this thing up on this one. I think it's been a really good conversation, and I think that'd be a next good episode. We'll have somebody on to talk about getting hit on at the gym and what that's like, and what did they do to avoid that stuff. Yeah, but we'll bring somebody on. We don't have to think about a name. We'll figure out a name or a person to come on.
I think I know the perfect person too.
All right.
Kind of talked about this, but
cool. And we'll get him on for the next one.
Well, all listeners, I used to do this a lot, and I haven't been doing as much, but thank you for listening. Whoever's listening, thank you.
Whoever.
Appreciate you. Just stay tuned for more. We got a lot of great episodes.
Yeah, being consistent.
Great speakers coming on. Great topics.
For sure. Any advice is always welcome. Absolutely. Always. But thank you guys for listening. This has been episode 21.
Is it 21?
21.
Hey, will you do something for me?
We are out.
All right.
Peace.
Peace.